Hi, Pastor Mark Biltz here with El Shaddai Ministries, and I'm so excited that we are able to have with us David Rubin, the former mayor of Shiloh, Israel, who survived him and his son a horrible terrorist attack many years ago. And he has written a book called Trump and the Jews. And as we know, both those topics are hot topics at this time. And we'd love to hear from David Rubin. Good to see you.
Hey.
Tell us about the book.
Yeah, well, Trump and the Jews is, as you said it yourself. Trump and the Jews is two topics that are always in the news. And there's always Israel, always the Jews, always, and when you combine it with Trump, wow, then it's quite a story. The Jewish people are on the front lines of the national controversy. I could even say international controversy over President Trump, because President Trump, obviously, people say that he divided the nation. I think the nation was divided from the beginning of Obama's 8 years, and it's just continued during the Trump years. But where do the Jewish people fall in all of this?
Yeah, what do they think? I mean, here Trump moved the embassy to Jerusalem. You'd think that would be something that all the Jews would love, but it seems like a lot of Jews are very liberal and they're against Trump.
Well, there's about 80% of American Jews that are unfortunately not very positive about President Trump. There are about 20% that are positive about President Trump, and that's the Orthodox Jews. But then, if you look at Israel, it flips completely. In Israel, 80% of the Jews love President Trump, and with good reason. If you look at what he's done since becoming president, okay, he did away with the American participation in the Iran nuclear deal. He moved the American embassy to Jerusalem, where it belongs. He closed down the PLO office in Washington. And I could go on and on, but these are serious things that he did that unfortunately he hasn't gotten the recognition for it that he should. Okay, so in my book, Trump and the Jews, I analyze why is this? I'm finally answering the question of why. Why is it that Jews in the United States tend to go for the Democrats, and why are they on the front lines of opposition to Trump? Why do you have Dianne Feinstein and Chuck Schumer and Gerald Nadler and all these people, who are American Jews? Why aren't they standing with their people in Israel? Why aren't they standing with their brethren in Israel and supporting President Trump?
Well, that's what I find. There seems to be a real disconnect between the Jews in Israel and the Jews in America.
So I explained it historically. I delved into the background of how the Jewish people from Eastern Europe came in relatively big numbers for them to the United States. They came in poverty. They settled in the Lower East Side of New York, and with just the shirts on their back they came, and there was discrimination against them. What did they do? Did they have days of rage and go crazy in the streets and riot because there was discrimination against them? No. They said, you work hard, they learn hard, and they achieved. But unfortunately, the Jewish community in the United States that achieved beyond its wildest dreams economically, unfortunately, they shedded behind their Judaic heritage. So you have about 80% of the American Jewish population that does not know what it is to be Jewish, that is and there's nothing more incongruous than a member of God's chosen people that doesn't know that he's chosen.
Yeah, it's an assimilation, totally assimilated.
And that is the problem. And that's what I wanted to explain in Trump and the Jews. I wanted to explain how President Trump became the good friend of the Jewish people that he is, and that strong connection with Israel. That I truly believe that President Trump was chosen for a time like this. Now the problem is that here and there he does get the wrong advice, and there is talk about possibly having a peace plan and dividing the land of Israel. once he goes down that path, it's going to be the downfall of President Trump. So I'm hoping that he won't go down that path, and I think it's important that as many people as possible read Trump and the Jews and become educated. And when I say as many people as possible, I'm including the president.
For sure, because I really believe if he tries to create a Palestinian state, divides Jerusalem and puts a Palestinian capital in eastern Jerusalem, I believe biblically all hell will break loose. It's not good for him to divide the nation of Israel.
There are spiritual ramifications for all of our actions. And if he goes there, as they say, he shouldn't go there. Because that would be a terrible mistake. He would reverse all the good that he's done so far. And I think back to President G.W. Bush, who had a very good first term.
Right.
He was very resolute after 9/11 about countering the terrorists. Anyone who stands with Islamic terrorism is not our friend, and we're going to go after them. He was very resolute, and. But then at some point, the pressure was applied by the so-called Palestinians and by certain parts of the Muslim world, and he backed down and he started to put pressure on Israel about the Palestinian state, about to divide up, carve up the land, create this Palestinian terrorist state, and that was a big mistake. And we see how President Bush ended his term with the terrible, terrible
I don't know
recession.
if you've heard of the Jordanian option, but some people are thinking that the current president of Jordan may not be around much longer, like a coup coming, but they want to give the West Bank back to Jordan, and they'd have control, and maybe Egypt to Gaza, or Gaza would go to Egypt. What would you think of that?
I would do just the opposite. I would take what is currently Jordan, the Kingdom of Jordan on the eastern side of the Jordan River, and turn that over to Israeli sovereignty.
I love it.
That would bring peace. That would bring peace because it would be biblically correct.
Oh, of course it would. We know the Promised Land is going to end up being a lot bigger than it is now.
I spoke in a church down in Southern California yesterday, and the pastor put up this big map on the screen showing Israel's borders all the way to Euphrates River and up past Damascus in Syria into Iraq.
Exactly.
So I'm not saying that we should attack all of these countries, that Israel should attack these countries, but God creates opportunities, and we have to seize those opportunities as we did in the Six-Day War.
What's happening right now with Iran and Lebanon and Syria, even just last night a missile comes over, and so it'll be interesting to see how this all plays out.
We're living in exciting times.
Well, thank you so much.
All right.
Bless you. Everybody, be sure and go to our website and watch the teaching by David Rubin. Thanks. Bye.